liability in the last 4 years. That is a fact. I mean, when the Wyoming case broke, when President Mills was in America and was granted a radio interview, you remember what he said? Oh, look, he was not interested in the beneficiaries. Wasn't that what he said?
That's what he said.
He was interested in those who caused the liability.
That's right.
President Mills comes back to Ghana. He's presented with all the facts about the matter. Then he realizes that indeed those who have caused the liability are in his own government. Yes. So let's ask the president, who caused the liability?
Now he's moved the goalpost again.
Absolutely. They're chasing after Wyoming. But I don't think Wyoming could have broken into Bank of Ghana or Ministry of Finance or Accountant General and take away a whopping 51 million Ghana. That's absolutely impossible. So for me, these have been some of the difficulties that we faced as a people. But I also like to end on the note of a lack of vision. I keep making the point, as a young man, as I sit, if you ask me what the Ghanaian vision or what the Ghanaian dream is, I'll not be able to tell you. That is because over the years, we have failed to articulate a good enough vision that everybody can identify with. So that as a leader, what you do is to walk all of us along that particular vision. That's done. Shemima asked President Mills a question, what type of leader he thought he was. You remember the answer he gave? It was simply evasive. So what are we learning? What are we picking from our leaders, for God's sake? It's worrying. And at the end of the day, if you look at, for example, ex-President Kufuor, he takes over in 2001. Then he says that, look, this is the state of the Ghanaian economy. We had to declare Ghana HIPIC. But I'm also promising you that by the time I'm leaving office, Ghana will get out of HIPIC. And indeed, before 2008, Ghana was already out of HIPIC.
That is leadership.
So that is leadership. And that's the sort of vision I am talking about. Let's ask the NDC and President Mills, what really is their vision for Ghana?
Well, NDC and President Mills, what is your vision for Ghana? The youth are asking you because your lack of vision, your lack of leadership is impacting negatively on the aspirations of the youth. They simply have no compass. Where do we go from here? A fight of propaganda and lies, and how do you find your way through all that?
Let me say this, that this government, and for that matter, the NDC government, you remember Dr. Bawumia said, you cannot run a government with propaganda.
Yes.
In 2009, when this government came to power, if you look at the report they presented to the World Bank, they themselves gave a very good testimony of the Ghanaian economy that was handed over by the MPP government.
The June 26th letter.
Fantastic. The June 26th. Exactly. Yes. I believe if you take a critical look at it, you will appreciate the fact that we had good managers of the economy led by His Excellency, former President J.A. Kufuor. Now, this is a government, in my candidate opinion, that has been the luckiest government in the history of this country. Luckiest in the sense that if you look at cocoa prices in the international market, it has gone up. Our exports has gone up. Now, in terms of borrowing, this is the government that has borrowed far, far more than all the governments, right from Nkrumah up to President Kufuor. And you ask yourself, where is the money? I am not surprised that because of lack of leadership, you can see that these monies are borrowed and you cannot pinpoint exactly the developments that these monies are being put into. Let me give you clear instances. Look, if you take the Wyoming issue that Gani mentioned, the Wyoming issue, I'm not too sure this would have happened under the leadership of Nana Akufo-Addo.
Oh, certainly not.
Wyoming cannot happen under Nana Akufo-Addo because this is a personality that has a sense of direction. He's very decisive, very courageous, a bold, somebody who thinks big, and somebody who will watch his ministers. And that is the person we are presenting to Ghanaians. We are not going to allow issues of this nature to occur. You have an attorney general who sits at the office, and somebody comes with fake documents and says, oh, you are owing me this amount. I mean, just to do the honorable thing by calling former ministers to cross-check. Come, let's negotiate. Today, a friend of mine was telling me that this government, you can just describe this government as come and let's negotiate. Forget of court and come and let's negotiate.
Come and let's negotiate.
So, Betty Moidrisi told us, in this Wyoming case, what did she tell us? That she saved Ghana an amount of 64 million Ghana cedis. And what was the argument? The Waterville and the rest, well, you only needed 100 million Ghana cedis. I managed to convince him, and we paid 51 million Ghana cedis. That is absolutely unacceptable. If you go to CP, what is the argument? CP demanded about 600 million euros. Yeah. And we managed to negotiate with them. We paid them 94 million euros. Today, Samuel Ablakwa and his other cohort are going around saying that, the Gallop, if you look at African Automobile, they are demanding $1.5 million. We are negotiating, and we will pay them $540 million. I mean, what kind of
come and let's negotiate?
Come and let's negotiate. So all you need is to gather documents and go and start negotiating. After all, these are people who will do the due diligence to find out whether indeed you have a contract or not. I am telling you that on Thursday, I listened to Honorable Samuel Ablakwa on City with our former chief of staff, and Richard was very categorical. He asked Sami, do you have contractual agreements with African Automobile? I want that answer. And Ablakwa's answer was clear. He said, there are documents. The same day, Ablakwa was at Newsfile. He didn't go to Newsfile with the documents. Today we are saying there's no contract. They claim there are documents. Where are the documents? Yeah, you ask yourself, it is because of lack of leadership. There's nobody watching anybody in this country. So all what we need to do is that everybody begins to put up his own attitude. Let's find a way of enriching ourselves. Look, there is a direct linkage between poor leadership and poverty, underdevelopment, high cost of living. You can see the linkage. For example, if you look at what is happening in this country, because we lack sense of direction, we don't seem to know who is in charge. Now what is happening is that people are just going around looting. And you know that corruption is massive in this country. Who knows, tomorrow anybody can gather papers with a suitcase and get to the Attorney General's department and say that this government bought, the MPP government bought 25 vehicles from us and never paid. You recall, when they came to power, Fifi Kote described this economy as an economy that was in the intensive care unit.
Yes.
And yet they had 1.5 billion to drink tea. Ministers have managed to buy pampers for their own children. People are looting their coffers. And yet they claim we have no money. I'm saying that if you look at this government, sometimes you ask yourself whether this is the right time to be a young man in this country. What gives me hope, to be honest with you, is the fact that as a party, I'm talking of the MPP, we have a leader, a credible leader, somebody who has impeccable record, somebody who is a human rights activist, somebody who has articulated his vision clearly to the Ghanaian people. And for me, as a young guy, I see hope in the MPP come 2013. And that is my source of encouragement. Otherwise, the kind of leadership that has been provided for us for the past 3.5 years, I'm telling you that it's a total mess. I come from the north. And I tell you, if you go there and see the level of poverty, the level of deprivation, I'm telling you that it is just absolutely unacceptable. Totally unacceptable. I cannot just imagine my mother in Udianga, in Garut and Pandi, or Gani's mother in Gonjala will go to the market and pay just some 1 CD or 2 CD as market. And you have ministers who sit here and they go around becoming spokespersons for companies in the name of trying to negotiate. I am totally disappointed in the kind of leadership that we have. You ask this government, what is their vision with regards to the youth? There is no clear youth policy. You know when the MPP was leaving, they left the youth policy. Why? For which reason Sekou was dismissed? When Sekou mentioned to the government that the MPP government left a clear vision, let's pursue that clear vision. What happened?
He lost his office.
He lost his office. And for me, is that the kind of leadership that we want in this country? Absolutely not. We want a leader that is decisive, that is courageous, a leader who understands the economy, somebody who has been in the political terrain for long. I have always said that as a young guy, I don't believe in the politics of insult. I don't believe in propaganda. Thank God I belong to a party that does not believe in propaganda. Look, to the extent that they are dragging the whole presidency into the arena of propaganda. Why will somebody talk of Kenke price being 1 CD and the whole president has to go with 40 vehicles with ministers of state to go and verify the cost of Kenke? I mean, throwing the whole presidency and the whole president into the arena of propaganda. You recall when we had these issues of cocaine here, cocaine there, cocaine turning soda and the rest.
Yes.
Anytime the president was traveling, you know that kind of populism. He said, oh, he subjected himself to some search and asked all his ministers to do same. Have you heard of it again?
No.
That is simply nothing than propaganda. Unfortunately,
it's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable.
Not a policy that
it's not sustainable. That was why when Dr. Bawumia told them about this issue of falling CD and single digit inflation. You know, sometimes even if you don't like the message, leave the messenger alone. Because of propaganda, these are people who will not talk to issues. They won't speak to issues. They will deal with both the message and the messenger. But Dr. Bawumia has been vilified, insulted. Today, the Ghana statistics serve themselves. You know, they are saying that there's something wrong with their calculation.
Yeah.
And that they are going to have a second look at it.
Yeah.
Dr. Bawumia has been exonerated. And I'm saying that if you have a leader who would watch his people, who would provide leadership, not just leadership, decisive leadership, I believe strongly that this country will move forward. Look, as a young man, I have always asked myself, so if we are going around paying judgment debts and ministers are becoming spokespersons of companies, by the end of these 4 years, what are we going to leave for the youth? My child, who is 5 years in the house, today, Honorable Ablakwa has become the spokesperson for African Automobile. Is that not what is happening? That is precisely the case. I appreciate the fact that he's a deputy minister of information.
Yes.
That's no doubt about that. But is he the spokesperson for African Automobile?
No.
Go and check the so-called judgment debt that they have paid. How many of them went to court? This issue of the gallopers, to be very honest with you, I am very passionate about it. If you ordered these gallopers in 1999 and they brought them in 2001, granted that our government said because of the specification they were not ready to take them. African Automobile, where were you for good 8 years of President Kufuor's leadership? You never went to court. You didn't say anything. Now, your party or your people, I will call it your people, they've all of a sudden have come to power. In 2009, this government, you ordered the vehicles. In 2009, you didn't see the vehicles, even though they were parked there. 2008, you didn't see the vehicles. All of a sudden, you are talking about 1.5 million. 1.17 million has suddenly metamorphosized to 1.5 million. Billion. You know why? Come and let's negotiate. Just get any document. Come. After all, Wyoming has done it. So there's no point. Come, let's negotiate. So you see, this is the kind of leadership that for me as a young guy,
that's right.
I feel, a bit disappointed.
That's right.
Especially coming from an area where people are struggling to come out of the quagmire of poverty.
Do you have expectations? What are your expectations of I mean, you represent a very viable group of youth, literate, appreciate the issues, very forthright, engaged politically. What are your expectations of the political system? Maybe Abdulgani is chaffing at the
you can proceed.
No problem. But you see, Wabi, if you talk of expectation, especially as a young guy, you know, when you talk of sustainable development, you are talking of a kind of development where you would use the resources judiciously without compromising the interests of the future generation.
Sustainable development. Carefully managing what you have in order to grow it and keep it for the future.
And without compromising the interests of the unborn generation.
Okay.
And unfortunately, that is not what is happening. Let's finish everything. The rest can find their way. That is not the expectation of Bash or the youth outside there. What we expect is prudent management of our economy. We expect an economy that will grow with jobs, and jobs. Don't forget, in 2008, the MPP did it. We had social intervention that, for me, every single household, every living soul in Ghana was a direct beneficiary of that social intervention. I don't know whether there's anybody in Ghana who doesn't visit the hospital. Is there anybody?
Everybody.
Certainly no, everybody. And we have this health insurance. Today, the health insurance is almost at the verge of collapse. Go to Bolaga Hospital. Go to other renal hospitals. And they prescribe a drug that costs 10 cedis for you. And see whether they will tell you you can find that drug. You ask you to go and buy. Because the health insurance authority will not pay the health providers. That is not the kind of leadership that we want. For me, as a young guy, especially coming from the north, I want to see fertilizer being distributed to the farmers. I want to see the policy that we wanted to pursue, the Northern Development Authority, not what they call it SADA. And it's important to carefully look at the word. What is SADA? They say Savannah Accelerated Development. That is not exactly the case. SADA will definitely lead you into sad events. And that is how we find ourselves in the north. Today, tell me exactly. Because SADA, or the Northern Development Authority, is supposed to be a deliberate policy by government to bridge the developmental gap between the north and the south. Tell me if there's any single tangible project that has been pursued by the supposed SADA. What we see now is 5 months to election, the vice president throws to the north and he's commissioning tractors. Tractors? How many tractors? In any case, when? This commission of tractors has been a routine thing. So I ask myself, is that the kind of leadership that we want? Complete deceit? Propaganda? That is not our expectation. Ghanaians deserve better. And I believe Akufo-Addo will show the way.
Bash believes Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo will show the way because the youth expect better leadership. Can you? Yeah. I mean, Bash has no doubts at all about the quality of leadership and expectations he has of leadership.
Yeah.
Do you want to share your expectations?
Yes, I think that across the length and breadth of this country, the expectations largely of every single Ghanaian has been the economy. In other words, the economy is a crucial factor. How do we get this economy expanded? How do we invest, for instance, in the real sectors of the economy? Because that is where the sustainable jobs can be created. All of a sudden, everybody is talking about oil. But whether we like it or not, this is a finite resource. Right from the day of production through a time series analysis, everybody can tell when we would have finished exploiting all our oil reserves. But the real sectors of our economy will remain, whether it's about agriculture, it's about manufacturing, it's about trade, so on and so forth. Those are the areas that we need to pay critical attention to. There are many models around the world. I mean, countries who have used oil proceeds to invest in those sectors that will generate sustainable growth.
We are not seeing that.
We are not seeing that. That plan, that vision, like I keep saying, is completely non-existent. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo talks about Ghana becoming a first world nation in 10 years. And you see, YB, the NDC say that, why should Nana Addo be talking about 10 years when he can rule this country for only 8 years?
The facile argument.
Forgetting that is a vision. Yes. A leader must not necessarily live to see a vision come true. But it's all about the followers believing in the vision, identifying with that vision, and imbibing it. Even after your demise, whatever vision you had could still come true. Where is Martin Luther King Jr. today? All that he said about blacks and whites in America. Today, don't we have Barack Obama as the president of America? Yeah. That is it. So this is a man who understands what he is talking about. In fact, only recently when Nana Addo was in the Upper West region, a chief in Logu complimented Nana Addo that, look, this is a man he has known for over 40 years. Because he has followed the politics of Ghana for well over 40 years. And he believes that Nana Addo's passion, commitment, dedication to the national cause remains unmatched. And for him, Nana Addo deserves to be president.
A progressive nationalist.
This is what our chiefs are saying. YB. That is the clearest indication that for us as the youth of Ghana, at least we have some source of hope. And that source is Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. What are the expectations of the Ghanaian youth generally? It's about having access to quality education. When we have been able to access quality education, we have the necessary skills, the necessary knowledge, then we are able to take advantage of expanded economic opportunities. Okay. If Nana Addo is talking about the first world nation, moving this country from the Gadgetsburg-based economy to an economy where we add value to our products, to our services, we become self-sufficient. We are able to export some abroad. That is the path the Malaysians, the Singaporeans, and whatnot have gone through. The Mahathir bin Mohammed, the Lincoln Youths, and whatnot. That is what I see in the man Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
A transformational leader.
A transformational leader.
Precisely.
Absolutely. And when he says he can do it, we need to believe him. Because he has a track record. He has done it before.
He's part of a tradition that delivers.
That delivers. Yeah. Anytime we've seen possibilities, the NDC actually see impossibilities. He was talking about the National Health Insurance Scheme. You saw the struggle we went through to bring NHIS to life in this country, when members of parliament virtually had to walk out of parliament because we wanted to pass a National Health Insurance bill. Today, look at the impact that the NHIS has brought to the health delivery system of our country. And as we are speaking, it's heading towards collapse. We've done it in the area of National Youth and Employment Program. That's a one-stop program or project that provided more than 100,000 jobs to the Ghanaian youth. These are really unprecedented achievements, you know, in our era, so that all of a sudden people are beginning to find a different meaning for the word unprecedented. I mean, for me, things that have never been done before. These are novelties. They are so new. Never have we seen it. Have we ever seen an NHIS in this country before? No. Have we ever seen an NYEP in this country before? No. Have we seen LEAP in this country before? No. Free maternal health care in this country before? Captation grant, have we seen it before? Danado is telling you, I'm talking about the youth of Ghana, that education at the senior high level is going to be free. Again, the doubting Thomases, I'm referring to the NDs, are telling us that it's not possible. We believe that it will be possible, and Nanado will do it. So generally, these are the expectations we have, because whether we like it or not, once we talk about the future, we are talking about the youth. Yes. We are the future leaders of this country. Yes. We are concerned about being positioned in a way that we are able to assume the mantle of leadership in this country. At least do things much more better than our fathers and our mothers have done. That's right. I mean, all these leaders we are talking about, how old are they? Sooner than later, they are all going to take the back seat and they'll be watching us. But we need to imbue with that confidence, that belief in ourselves, and the love for Ghana. That is very crucial. I've said it on many platforms before, that I will not be a member of the New Patriotic Party if I am not a Ghanaian, first of all. Tell me if you can ever be a member of the NPP or a member of the NDC if you are not a Ghanaian citizen. Isn't that true? So there's a common denominator for all of us, and that is Ghana. But in the last 4 years, we've really not seen the Ghanaian interest being pursued. Yeah. And that is so unfortunate, that it has to be politics as usual virtually all the time. Where are all the brains in this country? Amazing. Why can't we come together, be united, then we are able to take advantage of what we have, and that is what will spur the process of growth and development in this country. Amazing. So these are the youth expectations, but, and I believe it's Nanado who would represent those visions in a way that we are able to develop more appropriately to take up the mantle of leadership in this country.
When you hear the North as used politically, how do you feel? Do you feel a separate part of the country? Do you feel like you are one united Ghana pursuing a unitary vision for the youth to take over the future? Or you feel separated, you feel isolated? Because sometimes it sounds...
the North, sometimes it can be quite a bit distasteful sometimes when you hear. But I think that if you look at the vision of our government, and for that matter the MPP government, with regards to the North, there is hope. There is hope. You see, if you talk of governance, you are talking of rolling out policies that will benefit every single person in the country. And for me, in the North, the social interventions that Ganu has mentioned, the health insurance, the school feeding program, the captation grant, and for that matter, the free maternal health care, these are policies that I can tell you for sure that those of us from the north have benefited, because the poverty levels in the north, for me, is worse off than any part of the country.
Yes.
And so who were the direct beneficiaries of these policies? And that is why Nana Addo is promising us another big policy. And I tell you, if you go to the north, that statement is resonating very well with the people. And I'm talking of the free basic and free senior high education.
That's right.
These are policies that I'm telling you will help to bridge the gap. Don't forget that education is the bedrock of our society. And historically, the North has always lagged behind in terms of education, in terms of health, in terms of sanitation, infrastructure, everything. But I believe that education is the pivot within which the rest revolves. And so when you have a leader like Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo come out with a vision like free basic, free senior high education, then it tells you that he sees the North as part of Ghana, as part of a community where we are in a unitary state. And so he should roll out policies that every single person in this country would benefit directly. And for me, this message is what I'm telling the youth outside there, that the MPP has done it, and Nana Addo will do it, and do it better. Because our track record is there. And I have always said that the MPP is not a party that is canvassing to come into government for the first time. We have a track record. And I believe that anybody who takes a critical look at our track record, especially those of us from the North, will have no option than to vote for Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to provide the kind of leadership that we need in this country. Don't forget that you can be the richest country in the world. You can have all the resources. You can have all the both material and human resources. If you don't have a leader that can articulate that articulate a vision and mobilize the resources and make sure that he comes out with a clear policy and show the way, I tell you, your resources will be meaningless. Your human, your capital will be meaningless. Your oil will be meaningless. There will be hopelessness in the country. Let me tell you, between 2001 to 2004, under the leadership of President Kufuor, you saw the goodwill. Everybody rallied behind President Kufuor. There was no magic. President Kufuor was not a magician. Yeah, you know the reason?
Of course.
He showed the way. He provided leadership. He made it very clear. He articulated his vision very clear. That, look, this is a HIPIC country. I'm taking Ghana to HIPIC. This is the direction that by 2004, Ghanaians will know exactly where I'm sending Ghana into. And so there was that kind of goodwill across the political divide, even be it NDC, MPP, civil society, because you have no option than to buy into the vision of President Kufuor, because it was very clear and decisive. That's right. Now, you have in 2009, you have a new government. You ask yourself today, what is the single most economic policies, the direction of this government? You can't find that. Yeah, I will end on this note. Like I said, that we need a leader that can articulate a vision. Nana Addo is not only a politician. It is important to make this point, and it must be made forcefully, that we also need somebody who is business-minded. The single most important device that has transformed Africa today, what is it?
Mobile phone.
Mobile phone. Who brought mobile phone?
Mobita.
Mobita in Ghana. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. That is the kind of visionary leadership that we are expecting. Today, we don't know NDC mobile phone, MPP mobile phone, CPP or PPP mobile phone.
It is driving the
economy. It is driving the economy, and everybody is a direct beneficiary. I've been in Accra for the past 9 days. Through mobile phone, I'm able to communicate with my wife and my kids in the house. Today, businesses are doing very well because of mobile phones. And who brought it? Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. I feel a bit sad sometimes when I hear people try to vilify a personality like Nana Addo Dankwa. I tell you, this man has suffered so much in this country. And sometimes I ask myself, what exactly is Nana up to? And I realize that he's a human rights activist. He's somebody who is very compassionate, who is passionate about this country. And he wants to pay his dues. And the only way Nana can do that, he has done it with President Kufuor as Minister of Foreign Affairs, as Attorney General. He wants to take the leadership role. He wants to become the president of this country, to provide leadership, to create a new Ghana. A Ghana that will give hope, a Ghana that will give direction, a Ghana that will provide opportunity, a Ghana that you see prosperity, a Ghana that everybody will feel secured, a Ghana where corruption will be brought to the barest minimum, a Ghana where ministers of state and government appointees will be well measured in their statements, will be very responsible and accountable. For me, that is what all democracy is all about.
A Ghana that works, in short, is what Bash believes Nana Akufo-Addo will deliver to us. He's prepared, he's compassionate, he's courageous, and in victory, he will deliver all that the youth expect of him. Ganiu.
Yeah, I know.
SADA and the famed assumption that the North will vote NDC come what may. Is there going to be change? Because clearly SADA hasn't delivered the promise of the beginning.
I can assure you that the change will be so tremendous. I mean, the three northern regions would speak a language that has never been heard before.
I believe I have a first call online. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, sir.
It's Sanusi from Bolaga.
Yes, sir.
Good evening to Bashiru and Nganide. Thank them for the wonderful job done.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, coming to talk about this government. The least you talk about this government, the better. Why am I saying so? They believe in propaganda and defeat in such a way that there's the same president who came and told the whole world that phase 2 in Bolaga Regional Hospital has been done. They are now waiting for phase 3. Now, when you go to Bolaga right now, you will see the sports complex at Bolaga. They say it is done. It has not been done. The water project, they say it is being done. We haven't seen it. So as for this government, they believe in propaganda in such a way that, look, they believe that when they were in opposition, propaganda brought them to power. Let's continue the game so that Ghanaians will see again that we want propaganda. They believe in propaganda. Let's give them the second chance. The propaganda they are throwing out is there. Kufo was given the first time. Kufo didn't start this way. That Ghanaians gave him the second time. If you have a government that can dole out this money to people free of charge for work not done, then what business do they have to be in government as at now? We are suffering. Nana is promising free education. What else do we need again? If we are waiting to see Nana become president in 2013, so that this dream will be realized. You see, people don't get it. Or you are not in the north, or you are not in the upper east, upper west. You don't get what people feel. So when they talk of free education, people will laugh over it and say it is not possible. Whoever is a true Ghanaian, especially from the north, should be praying to God that this vision should be realized. Because it is not easy to get 400 Ghana cedis, 500, 600 to go and pay just SHS, not to talk of nursing training, not to talk of training cooling.
Thank you. Osman.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm Osman Koko now, calling from Bolaga, Zongo Youth.
That's right.
Yeah, let me greet my brother Bashiru and Ganiu. About this government, talk about the leadership. Nana Akufo-Addo is somebody who know what is good and what is bad, who has the foresight. Let me tell you, under the leadership of J.A. Kufuor, we did for 4 years. When we came, we made the Ghana Police Service only 14,000, the whole country. Within 4 years, Kufuor has moved it to 19,000. We can make 10,000 Ghana Armed Forces, the entire Ghana Armed Forces, only 10,000. Kufuor has moved it to 40 years, within 4 years. The first is 22nd of October 2003, Metro Mass was introduced. Health insurance 2004, 2005, the redeployment. So these are policies that NPP brought to Ghanaians. And Ghanaians are seeing all these policies. And they know under Nana Akufo-Addo, the release of Nana Akufo-Addo, he would deliver the senior secondary school, free senior secondary school. So I, as an NPP man, NPP activist in the Upper East Region, I know what NPP has done for the North, especially we in the Trade Northern region. They have, Kolugu, for example, they put a police depot there to recruit our boys here. Currently, as I'm telling you, one region, this year, they've recruited 350. One region had 270. A region in this country has 270. So the remaining 80 are from the other regions, the 9 regions. Look at what the kind of government where Ghanaians has voted in 2008.
Thank you. Abuda.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, congratulations to Ganiu and Bash for the wonderful display. We are proud of them. And I just want to relate something here before I proceed. You see, I believe that when you are in a family, your father or your mother is always the head of the family.
And if in the case that the father is blind, at the same time deaf, you can imagine what will happen in the house. The children, when he is not even blind or deaf, he finds it difficult to control children. And that is the state Ghana has found itself in. And we need to change that leadership, because the leadership is, it looks like the leadership is blind and deaf at the same time. That is why party youth can march to municipal assemblies, take tender documents, burn them without anyone being apprehended. And that is unfortunate. And the leadership, we are not surprised that there is leadership crisis in this country. In your own home, if you cannot manage your own home affairs, you can imagine what will happen as a nation. NDC, the president is not, he is the leader of the party. Now, currently, NDC has a lot of confusion within their fold. He is not able to settle those problems. So I wonder why we think that this man can lead us into the future. He cannot lead us into the future. He is not decisive. For instance, like one of the panelists said, when he was in USA, when this Wyoming matter started, he said he was not interested in he was interested in who caused the liability. And that, after coming down, seeing the reality on the ground, he revised his statements. Yeah. Now he doesn't even know what he's looking for. Report has been submitted, nothing is happening, and it is unfortunate. It's high time Ghanaians rise up and give Nana Akufo-Addo the chance to rule us, because he is the best man for this country, and the NPP are the best managers of Ghana.
Thank you, Admuda.
Yeah.
I'll give you a minute for your last words.
That's okay. So I was just making the point that the three northern regions will speak the loudest voice, which will translate into a victory for the MPP and Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo come December 7th. I don't have any doubt about that. You see, within the NDC itself, key members of the NDC have emerged, telling us that their own government has failed. Okay. That is a fact. To the extent that for the first time in the history of our country, a certain president was challenged at a presidential primaries. Right. What more verdict do we need? The fact of the matter is that government has not performed to our expectations, and Ghanaians are simply waiting patiently for December 7th to get them out. It's as simple as that.
Can December come early enough?
Can I end on the note that SADA is nothing but a charade? You see, at the end of the day, Vice President John Dramani Mahama goes to the north to give 100 tractors or so to farmers. Why be? In this country, we all know, right from 2001, Ghana has been importing tractors. Yeah. So this whole idea of rebranding projects that are already being pursued by ministries, departments, and agencies in the name of SADA, thinking that that can fool the people of the north, will not see the light of day. I can assure you, there's a lot that we could have talked about in as far as SADA.
Well, of course, we will never finish talking, but clearly what we all as a country need to do is to install a government that can deliver, a government that will deliver good governance, a government that is prepared to work because it has a vision, it has programs, and it will secure the wherewithal to deliver those visions and programs that it will bring to the people. It's not just about Nana Addo, it's about good governance. And the MPP has a track record of delivering good governance. And we promise and we assure you that with Nana and Dr. Bawumia, we will deliver. Come 2012, let's vote wisely. It's to the youth, because the future is yours.